Most people walk through life believing their brain is what it is, that their thoughts, their habits, their focus, and their level of success are already set in stone. They think intelligence is genetic, focus is either natural or impossible, and wealth is only for the lucky. But the truth is, your brain is a living, breathing supercomputer, and it's constantly being wired and rewired based on what you feed it, what you repeat, and what you expose yourself to. Every single day, you are programming yourself, consciously or unconsciously. And most people have unknowingly programmed their minds for failure, distraction, and scarcity. If you want to create success, wealth, and unbreakable focus, you don't start by chasing money or chasing hacks. You start by rewiring your brain at the deepest level. So success and focus become the default setting, not the exception. Success begins in the mind before it appears in reality. Everything you want in life, every dollar, every opportunity, every breakthrough, first exists as a thought. Your external world is just a reflection of your internal programming. If your mind is filled with doubt, hesitation, and fear, then every opportunity in front of you will look risky and dangerous, and you'll pull back. But if your mind is trained to see possibilities, to focus on solutions, and to move despite fear, then those same opportunities will appear like stepping stones toward greatness. Success is not just about working harder. It's about training your brain to interpret reality in a way that attracts and creates wealth. Wealthy people don't live in a different world. They live in a different state of mind. And the good news is, you can learn to operate from that state of mind too. Your thoughts create neural pathways, and those pathways control you. Every thought you repeat is like walking through grass. The first time the grass stands tall, the second time it bends, the third time it flattens, and soon you've carved a permanent path. That's exactly how neural pathways work in your brain. If you constantly think, "I'm not good enough," that thought becomes the dominant pathway. If you constantly think, "I always get distracted," your brain locks into that cycle. But when you start intentionally repeating new, empowering thoughts, "I am focused, I am disciplined, I create wealth, I don't stop," you carve new pathways. Over time, those new pathways dominate. Rewiring your brain is not magic. It's repetition, discipline, and refusing to let the old pathways dictate your life. The more you walk the new path, the more your brain believes it. And the day comes when success habits no longer feel forced, they feel natural. Focus is the new wealth. Guard it with your life. In today's world, the richest resource is no longer oil, land, or even gold. It's focus. The ability to concentrate deeply for long periods of time on one goal or one mission is what separates the successful from the average. But here's the reality. Your brain is being hijacked every single day. Notifications, endless scrolling, constant noise. It's all designed to rewire your brain for distraction, not focus. If you don't consciously take back control, you will end up training your brain to crave interruptions, to thrive on chaos, to be addicted to low-value dopamine hits. But when you rewire your brain for deep focus, everything changes. You start finishing projects others abandon. You see opportunities others are too distracted to notice. You build wealth because you can focus long enough to master skills, grow businesses, and execute ideas that others quit on after a week. Wealth doesn't come to the smartest, it comes to the most focused. Repetition is the mother of rewiring. If you want to rewire your brain, forget about quick fixes. It's not about reading one book, listening to one motivational video, or saying one affirmation. Your brain changes through repetition, through what you feed it every day. You must feed your brain the same way you feed your body. If you eat junk food every day, your body becomes weak. If you feed your brain junk thoughts, your life becomes weak. But if you repeatedly feed your brain with empowering ideas, with success principles, with focus-driven routines, your brain starts to reshape itself. And here's the key. It takes time, but once the rewiring locks in, it becomes automatic. The same way brushing your teeth doesn't feel like effort anymore, success habits will stop feeling like effort. You'll wake up focused. You'll naturally gravitate toward opportunities. You'll instinctively avoid distractions. Rewiring your brain is about doing small, powerful repetitions until the new program runs on autopilot. The power of self-talk, rewiring through words. The words you speak to yourself are the most powerful programming tools you have. Every time you say, "I'm bad at this," your brain accepts it as truth. Every time you say, "I can't focus," your brain makes it harder to focus. But the reverse is also true. When you feed yourself empowering self-talk like, "I am disciplined, I finish what I start, I create wealth, I thrive under pressure," you are rewiring your subconscious mind to match those statements. The brain doesn't argue with repetition. It obeys it. That's why athletes, leaders, and high achievers all use affirmations and mantras. They're not silly words, they're rewiring commands. Your self-talk is shaping your focus, your habits, and your wealth potential, whether you realize it or not. Change your self-talk, and you change the direction of your brain. Wealth is a state of mind before it's a bank account. People chase money, but they ignore the mind that creates money. That's why they win for a while, then lose it all. Without rewiring your brain for abundance and wealth creation, money slips through your fingers. Wealthy people think differently. They see problems as opportunities. They see risk as a challenge, and they see failure as data. Broke people see problems as barriers, risk as danger, and failure as proof they should quit. The same world, the same circumstances, but two completely different brains interpreting reality. If you want wealth that lasts, you must rewire your brain to see yourself as a creator of value, not a consumer of luck. When you think like a creator, you no longer depend on chance. You make money move because your brain has been trained to spot opportunities others ignore. Wealth is not out there, it's in here, inside your mindset, waiting to be unlocked. The hidden power of environment in rewiring your brain. You cannot rewire your brain if you're surrounded by the wrong environment. Your brain is always adapting, always learning, always mimicking what it sees. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, by distractions, by people who complain and never grow, your brain wires itself to match them. But when you surround yourself with people who push you, with environments that demand focus, with books, ideas, and challenges that elevate you, your brain upgrades. Just like a plant grows differently in sunlight than in darkness, your brain develops differently based on your environment. If you want unbreakable focus and wealth, you must put yourself in rooms that require that standard. The fastest way to rewire your brain is to live in an environment where the new standard is normal, not rare. Discipline is the ultimate form of freedom. Most people think discipline is a cage, but the truth is, discipline is what sets you free. Without discipline, you are a slave to your impulses, your moods, and your distractions. Without discipline, your brain runs wild, constantly chasing instant gratification and leaving you exhausted, broke, and unfocused. But with discipline, your brain gets rewired to prioritize what matters over what's easy. Discipline trains your mind to delay gratification, to resist temptation, to focus on the long-term reward instead of the short-term hit. And here's the secret. Discipline is not something you're born with. It's a muscle, and like any muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it gets. When you force yourself to wake up early, to sit down and work even when you don't feel like it, to stay locked in when distractions are calling your name, you are literally changing the chemistry of your brain. You are teaching your mind that you are in control, not your emotions, not your laziness, not your fears. Discipline rewires you to win. The brain thrives on clarity, not chaos. You can't rewire your brain if your life is filled with chaos. Your mind needs clarity the way a car engine needs oil. If your brain is overloaded with clutter, endless to-do lists, half-finished goals, random distractions, you cannot focus. And if you cannot focus, you cannot build wealth. The secret weapon of high performers is not that they do more than everyone else. It's that they do less, but they do it with total clarity and ruthless precision. Clarity rewires your brain to lock in on one mission instead of scattering energy across 100 things. When you wake up and your brain knows exactly what today is about, your focus sharpens. The more clarity you create, the easier it becomes to stay disciplined. Your brain craves certainty, and when you provide it, success feels inevitable. Chaos kills focus. Clarity fuels it. And the more you live in clarity, the more your brain wires itself to cut through the noise and zero in on results. Your brain runs on energy. Protect it like gold. Here's a truth no one tells you. Your brain doesn't run on motivation. It runs on energy. And if you don't protect that energy, your focus dies. Think about it. Every decision, every distraction, every argument, every mindless scroll is draining your brain's battery. That's why by the end of the day, most people are too tired to chase their goals. They've given all their mental energy to things that don't matter. If you want to rewire your brain for unbreakable focus, you must treat your mental energy like gold. Protect your mornings, protect your attention. Stop wasting energy on meaningless noise. When you save your best brain power for the tasks that actually build your wealth and success, your brain learns to prioritize what matters. Energy management is rewiring. When your brain knows it only gets to work on what matters, it sharpens itself for those battles. Stop draining yourself on distractions and start fueling your brain for greatness. Fear is the default program. Courage is the upgrade. Your brain was designed to keep you safe, not successful. That means fear is the default program. Anytime you think about starting something new, taking a risk, speaking up, or chasing wealth, your brain floods you with fear. And if you let fear win, the old program keeps running and you stay stuck. But here's the rewiring trick. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's moving anyway. Every time you move through fear instead of retreating, you rewire your brain to see fear as a green light, not a stop sign. Over time, your brain stops panicking when challenges appear. Instead, it starts associating fear with growth, discomfort with progress. This is the ultimate reprogramming, turning fear into fuel. Most people let fear control their lives. But if you make the decision to act in the face of fear again and again, your brain learns a new program. Fear means I'm on the right path. That's how you break free from the old cage. The hidden enemy, mental loops that keep you stuck. Rewiring your brain also means breaking the destructive loops that keep you stuck. You know the ones: procrastination, overthinking, perfectionism. These are not just bad habits. They are loops your brain has wired through years of repetition. The more you give into them, the deeper the groove in your mind becomes. That's why breaking them feels impossible. Your brain has turned them into default programs. But here's the key. You don't break loops by thinking harder, you break them by interrupting them. Every time you catch yourself procrastinating and instead take one small action, you start rewiring. Every time you stop overthinking and instead execute immediately, you start rewiring. The brain changes through interruption. The more you interrupt the old loop, the weaker it gets. The more you feed the new loop, the stronger it grows. Success is not about eliminating fear, doubt, or hesitation. It's about refusing to feed them long enough for your brain to forget they were ever in control. Momentum is the brain's shortcut to success. One of the most underrated tools for rewiring your brain is momentum. The brain loves patterns, and once you start moving in a positive direction, it begins to lock onto that motion. The hardest part is always starting, but once you've taken the first step, your brain rewires to crave continuation. This is why tiny wins are so important. They signal to your brain that progress is happening, and progress creates motivation. Too many people wait for motivation to act, but the truth is, action creates motivation. Every small win compounds into momentum, and momentum rewires your brain to see yourself as someone who doesn't quit, someone who follows through, someone who finishes. Success doesn't come from one giant leap. It comes from stacking small wins until your brain no longer accepts quitting as an option. Your identity is the operating system. Upgrade it. The most powerful rewire you can ever make is not changing your habits, it's changing your identity. Your brain always acts in alignment with who you believe you are. If you see yourself as lazy, no matter how many times you try to build discipline, your brain will pull you back. If you see yourself as someone who always gets distracted, you will sabotage your focus without even realizing it. But the moment you change your identity, your brain rewires instantly. If you start saying, I am a focused person, I am a wealth creator, I am disciplined, I am unstoppable, and you back it up with small, consistent action, your brain locks onto that new identity. It starts working to protect it. Habits become easier, distractions become weaker, and success becomes natural. Identity is the root, upgrade it, and everything else follows. Vision is the blueprint of your brain. If you want to rewire your brain for success and wealth, you cannot live without a vision. A clear, compelling vision is like a compass. It tells your brain what to focus on, what to filter out, and what to chase. Without vision, your mind drifts. It latches onto every distraction, every shiny object, every meaningless task. But with vision, your brain starts to reorganize itself. You begin to notice opportunities that align with your mission. You start ignoring noise that doesn't serve you. Vision literally rewires your brain's reticular activating system, the part responsible for filtering what enters your awareness. That's why people with strong vision seem lucky. They're not lucky, they're programmed. Their brain has been rewired to recognize doors others walk past. If you don't have a vision, your brain will default to survival. But if you create a vision, your brain will default to success. Persistence builds pathways that never die. Your brain doesn't change overnight. It changes through persistence. Every great achiever you admire built their success not by one massive breakthrough, but by small, relentless repetitions. Each time they persisted, even when it was boring, painful, or exhausting, they were carving deeper neural pathways. Success is persistence locked into your biology. When you give up too early, you train your brain to expect quitting. But when you persist through resistance, your brain rewires to see persistence as normal. That's why the wealthiest, most focused people in the world are not the ones who never fail. They're the ones who never let failure reset their brain back to doubt. They turn persistence into an instinct. And here's the truth. The longer you persist, the easier persistence gets because your brain starts craving completion over quitting. That's the rewire that separates champions from everyone else. Visualization wires the brain before reality arrives. Your brain cannot tell the difference between something vividly imagined and something experienced in reality. That's why visualization is such a powerful rewiring tool. When you visualize yourself focused, disciplined, and wealthy, your brain starts forming neural pathways as if you've already lived it. Athletes use visualization before competitions. Entrepreneurs use it before launches, and leaders use it before big decisions because it primes the brain for action. The more you see yourself succeeding in your mind, the more natural it feels in real life. Visualization is not daydreaming, it's rehearsal. When you rehearse greatness in your brain, your subconscious starts aligning your actions to match the picture. Most people let their imagination play movies of failure, doubt, and disaster. That rewires them for fear. But if you intentionally run movies of victory, focus, and wealth, your brain becomes conditioned to expect those outcomes. Your habits shape your future identity. Everything you do daily is training your brain for who you're becoming. Habits are not small, they are destiny. A tiny daily choice may not seem like much, but it wires your brain to expect that choice tomorrow. That's why wealthy, successful, and focused people protect their habits with everything they've got. They know each repetition is carving a groove into their brain's future. If your daily habit is distraction, your brain wires for distraction. If your daily habit is discipline, your brain wires for discipline. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. The key is building habits so strong they replace willpower. If you brush your teeth without thinking, you can also save money without thinking, focus without thinking, create without thinking. Rewiring happens when habits become the silent architects of your life. The legacy mindset, wiring beyond yourself. The deepest level of rewiring comes when you stop thinking only about yourself and start thinking about legacy. Your brain expands when your mission becomes bigger than your comfort. Most people fail because they're only chasing short-term pleasure or personal gain. But when your vision is about building something that lasts, changing your family's financial future, creating impact, leaving behind value, your brain operates on a higher level. It stops giving in to small distractions because the mission is too big. Legacy rewires your brain to see beyond today. It keeps you focused when others are distracted. It keeps you disciplined when others give up. If you want unbreakable focus, make your mission bigger than yourself. Wealth is not just money. It's the mindset that keeps growing long after you're gone. Rewire, reinforce, repeat. The process is simple but powerful. Rewire, reinforce, repeat. You identify the old patterns that have kept you stuck. You consciously replace them with new ones. And then you reinforce them until they become natural. This is how you create unbreakable focus, how you create lasting wealth, how you create success that cannot be stolen. It's not about changing everything in one night. It's about small rewires, repeated with persistence, until your brain no longer remembers the old you. That's how transformation happens, not by force but by programming. Your brain is plastic, moldable, rewritable, and you are the programmer. The choice is yours: program or be programmed. At the end of the day, there are only two paths. You either consciously rewire your brain for success, wealth, and focus, or you let the world program you for distraction, failure, and scarcity. Every notification, every wasted hour, every negative thought is a line of code being written into your mind. If you don't take control, the default program runs your life. But if you take control, if you feed your brain the right thoughts, if you build the right habits, if you persist through fear, you become unstoppable. The world is full of people waiting for the right time, waiting for luck, waiting for opportunity. But the ones who rise, the ones who build empires, the ones who focus when everyone else is distracted, they are the ones who rewired their minds to win. The power is in your hands. The program is waiting to be written. The only question is, what will you wire your brain for? Your brain is the greatest investment you'll ever make. You can lose money and make it back. You can lose time and still recover. But if you lose control of your brain, everything else collapses. Your brain is the foundation of your wealth, your success, your focus, your legacy. It is the one asset you will carry for life, and it will determine how far you rise, how much you achieve, and how deeply you impact the world. So invest in it. Rewire it daily. Protect it fiercely. Because the moment your brain is aligned with success, the rest of your life falls in line. Focus becomes automatic, wealth becomes inevitable, and success becomes who you are, not what you chase. Rewiring your brain is not about changing who you are. It's about becoming who you were always capable of being. Every success story began with someone who chose to think differently, act differently, and reprogram the patterns that held them back. You are no different. Your brain is waiting. Your future is waiting. The wealth, the focus, the success, it's all waiting on one decision: to rewire your mind and never look back.